So I'm asleep in my house, and sometimes I don't hear, especially if I'm in like an episode like that clearly, but I might not always hear my doorbell. And we know how doorbells can be, you know, sometimes mine will ring, and other times it might not. It can be spotty. Well, whatever the reason was, I didn't hear the doorbell. So, the only thing that I can remember is just know that when that nurse came over, the only memory I had was of him standing in my bedroom doorway with a mask on, staring at me. Now, how did he get into my house? How did he get into my house? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. That's the only memory that I had. And then I only have flashes of memory of the female nurse standing over me saying, "Madison, Madison, Madison, you don't look good, you don't look good," because my vitals were extremely low. And I didn't think much. I was really confused. Then when I, so confused as to how I didn't get up, but someone was standing in my home. I was very confused, and it just left an eerie, knot in my stomach. And I remember my dad and I went to go eat after that, and I said, "Hey Dad, I just have a really weird memory of when my home health was here." I said, "It's just that creepy, that guy, the nurse in the mask, the guy standing in my doorway staring at me." And that was kind of eating away at me for a little bit, until my nurse that I had for over a year, I love her dearly, we are still friends, but she is no longer my nurse. It was the second time that I had ever seen her visit out to my house. And she said, "Hey," let's call her Kay, the female nurse that's now head of he was concerned. That's what they do. Like, they're making sure you're okay. I'm sorry. Did you not just hear that story? No, none of that is okay. And again, if you were that worried, you would have come to make sure that I was okay. And at that point, it was such a hell of a year. So many things had happened, and I was basically being told that I was overreacting and that I didn't need to press charges and that I shouldn't make a complaint because someone was like caring about me and making sure that I was okay. So to be a young woman in your 20s and especially be weakened by illness and have a man who was supposed to help you break in and cause more damage psychologically, physically, and create such anxiety and then angst and like paranoia from anything that I would ever hear outside. It was awful. For that to happen and to be told, like, and also just scary as shit. Sorry, just scary. So then to be told that like I was overreacting and this individual was just doing their job is wild. It's wild. How this home health company is still up, I don't know. This is the same home health company that I had a nurse in June, May or June, I think it was June. A nurse that was supposed to come once again help me because like clearly I was suffering, but ended up making everything worse. This was a male nurse, just another male nurse that I had bad incident with. But I was at my grandparents' house, so it was my grandparents and my aunt and then myself. And this nurse came in to do my infusion, and I told him, like, A, if you're assigned to a patient, you effing read their chart. Read what I have, make sure you know what's going on. Like, that's just basics, right? Yeah. So, this dude comes in, and I always, no matter what, remember, I give him a list of what I have and to say, like, we have to be really careful about administering medication because when medication is administered, we have to keep in mind my pods that I can have tachycardia and bradycardia. Yeah, bradycardia, I believe is what it is. I can drop pushes an entire shot, an entire vial of high potency Benadryl into my port line. It automatically hits my system, my heart jolts. I like jolt over, and I'm like about to pass out from that. My heart is in so much pain from that automatic hit. Now, again, just why? Like, I've never ever had that happen in my life, and I've been with home health for like almost 7 years at this point. Never had this happen. And before that, doing infusions up at the hospital for many of years. I've had many of hospital stays and never had that happen. He hits right to the system, and I am then like catatonic. I can't communicate. I can't say anything. So he goes, his reaction is literally, oh, I don't even know what I pushed when I jolt over. He's like, I don't even know what medication I just pushed. Excuse me. What? Take it back. Say you're lying. Say you're lying. So, he hits to my system. I'm like catatonic. Then he goes for the other 3 medications. Again, not diluted, but I'm and he starts shaking, and he pulls out his phone, and he's like texting. So you can tell, like, he knows he just effed up. He knows what he did. He knows what he did, and he looks, and we're sitting there for at least 15 minutes. Again, I can't communicate. I cannot communicate. I'm like passing in and out. I'm in awful pain. And he goes, "Do you want me to go get your grandparents?" And I nodded my head, and he went out. He went out, and my aunt and my grandma came in the room very quickly. And he goes, "I think I'm gonna have to call an ambulance." So he had to call the ambulance. And my heart was in distress. It took them a good amount of time to get my heart even in the low, like 110s. Took a very long time. EMS immediately knew. So I made a complaint. I called multiple times about this. I am also in medical debt because of an ambulance ride and because of a hospital stay that I have to pay for, even though it wasn't my fault. It was medical negligence of a individual that worked with my home health company, a medical professional. And I've brought this up again multiple times to my home health company. And they claimed, like 3 months ago, they claimed that they were going to sit down the girl, the woman that runs the home health company that I told you, told my friend, who was my nurse. She's not any longer, but I love her oh so dearly. But told her originally to tell me, like, she was sorry and that guy was no longer with the company. Yeah, this one was not okay. EMS knew exactly what had happened, and he claimed the nurse put it on me. He didn't even tell the full story, and EMS automatically got in, shaking their heads, and they're like, he's not telling the truth. She said, "I knew immediately when we went in." My heart was so bad and in such distress that I could not even get up and walk on the stretcher. So a very handsome gentleman did pick me up and put me on the stretcher, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, this is the way that we're like meeting. It's not exactly the way in which I wish a fireman was picking me up off the bed, but yeah, I'll take it. Like, what are you doing later after my heart gets out of distress?" But yeah, the woman who owns the home health, she's like, we went and talked to him. What is sitting and talking to him gonna do? Because he went out to my aunt when I went into distress. He went and told my aunt and said, "I don't even know what POTS is." Come again. You don't know what POTS is? Cool. And as if I did not tell him, "Hey, you need to administer with caution." But whatever. Anyways. Fun times. So those are some medical horror stories. I recommend, as someone who's been in home health for years, and I know not all of us have this option, but if you have home health and there is a friend, a partner, a family member, someone that could sit with you while home health is coming over, doing whatever treatment it is that they're doing, I'm really encouraging that. less likely to happen if you have someone with you. And also, the medical gaslighting is so real. And from another perspective, not as patients, but as a medical professional's perspective, unfortunately, I know of many stories from nurses who their patients are having side effects of like infusions going too fast that need to be slowed down. It's making them very, very sick, and they just don't want to have to tend the entire time to the patient. They don't have to like stay with them for whatever infusion. So when a patient complains and says, "Oh, my head's hurting, like I feel really sick," it a lot of times can be because someone's moving something too quickly, and they just want to get out of there. I know this. Trust me. Trust me. I know many of stories of this, and it's horrifying. And the amount of times that I've been gaslit when I say something's not right, this is like I'm passing out, quite literally vitals dropping really badly because someone was moving too fast or doing whatever the case may be. So, if something's not feeling right, please advocate for yourself, please. And if you can have someone to sit with you and to stay, I really encourage it. I really encourage it. Thank you for spending some time with me. Those are my fun medical horror stories. I hope that you could take something away from this, such as caution to move forward with for yourself or someone else, or just got some interesting